Hey, all you happy people. It's been a minute. A lot's happened over the last few weeks. Some good, some bad. It's just been kind of a crazy time. So, wanted to hop on here and give you guys another update and show you around my new digs, show you what's going on. So, if any of you follow me on social media, you know a little bit, but probably not quite a lot because I haven't really posted a lot. I've been kind of busy. But let me flip the camera. You. We actually have erected some temporary fencing. So, this is a gate across the driveway. So that now this is the entrance to the basement right here. So now I can actually bring the dogs out from this door and they can have access to the yard. So what we did was I went online to Premier One Supplies and I bought the electric poultry net. I bought their less expensive one. There's a couple of different ones. This one was just, I think it's just the poultry net. It's 164 feet. I did go for the longer one because I did want a bigger area. So, I wasn't sure exactly how many feet I was going to need. I went ahead and went with 164. The other option was going to be 82, and I thought 82 was too short. Wouldn't give us quite enough coverage. So the really good thing about this is that it comes up here, up against this stone wall, which the dogs are not likely to climb because of the hydrangea that's right there. It's a pretty well established hydrangea, and it's pretty thick at the bottom because it's never really been pruned. So they're not likely to try to climb that wall to get around the netting. They haven't actually challenged the fence. It's not on. It's not electrified right now. We don't have the battery for it yet. But I will be getting that in the next couple of days. They've touched it. They have not tried to push through it, but they've touched it. So I have to be really careful when we do electrify it. They're going to get electrified. They're going to get shocked when they touch it. And that's liable to scare the bejesus out of them. But, that'll keep them from trying to go through it. So I have to be, the best thing to do is to be right here with them when they do challenge it, so that they don't actually try to go through the net. They don't keep going forward, so that I can help pull them backwards when they do actually touch it and get shocked. Like I said, it's going to scare them. I have a feeling that Jenny and Hattie will be the most terrified. Major, probably not so much. He's a little bit of a blockhead. So not so much worried about Major. He doesn't really come up and challenge the fence anyway. He will come up and walk around and sniff some, but he doesn't really come up and challenge the fence. There are a couple little areas here that we're trying to figure out how to raise that up so it's not laying on the ground and not got all this debris under it. Not sure if that's going to ground it out or not. It does have a negative wire at the bottom that runs at the bottom, but I know that grasses and vegetation can ground it out. There's really not anything growing up through it except right here, which will take care of that. We'll probably spray this with a weed spray. Luckily, Todd's a landscaper, so he can do some non-toxic weed sprays for us that'll actually work really well and not contaminate the ground or poison the dogs. So it goes around, and then this is his property. Actually goes quite a bit further back, and we had discussed buying more fence and fencing further back, but to be completely honest, because we are at the lake, there are moccasins down in the lake which are venomous. There are copperheads on the property, which are obviously very venomous, and I don't want the dogs crawling back in those woods, coming into contact with a copperhead. And I'm sure that somewhere, like it probably in that little knoll right there, there's probably a nest of copperheads. There's probably nests of copperheads. He's found baby copperheads all over his property. So I don't want my dogs back there. More than likely, if a copperhead comes through the fence, it's probably going to get fried. Just depending on the size of the copperhead, really, it'll probably get fried. So You know, we won't really have to worry about that too much. But it does come down. Like I said, they've got a huge area here. He's on, I want to say he's on probably about either a third or a half of an acre, and then the rest of it backs up to Army Corps of Engineer land property. And there's a cove down there back through the woods. So we are actually going to put a gate in here. So we will get another fence. We'll put a gate in here so that when we're cleaning out the chicken coop, we do have permission to dump onto the Army Corps land. We'll probably actually go just down to the edge of the property. Eventually, we're going to be building some sort of a composting system where we're not just completely dumping it, and he can use some of the compost for some of his properties as well. You know, he won't be able to charge for it, obviously, because he's not a certified whatever you need to be to sell compost. But that may be something that he might decide to do at some point in the future as well. Who knows? So anyway, so it does go down. I think that's, you guys remind me, you can comment in the comments below. I'm not exactly sure. I want to say that's Lantana, but I'm not 100% certain. Todd will know better. It does die back. It's a perennial. It does die back in the winter and then comes back every spring. It's beautiful. It's blooming right now. It's absolutely gorgeous. And then of course he's got a bunch of weeds that we have to come in. We need to clear out. He's got tomato cages here because last year he had volunteer tomatoes pop up, and he's planning on limbing up a lot of these trees and actually taking down a couple of these trees because the new chicken coop is actually going to come off that back wall. It's focusing on my finger. It's going to come off that back wall back there. Once we get to the point where we're able to build that new chicken coop, it's going to come off that back wall, and there's going to be a path down to it. So we're going to limb up a bunch of these trees, and he's actually going to take a couple of them down so that there will be more sunlight back there, because the birds will need sunlight in order to be able to produce and lay eggs. If you didn't know that, they need obviously not necessarily direct sunlight, but if they're in too much shaded area, they will not lay eggs, or they will lay very, very sporadically. I have had chickens in the past where they got maybe 4 to 6 hours of sunlight and they just wouldn't lay. And so when I moved them to a place where they got more like 8 to 12 hours of sunlight, they started laying within a day or two. So they absolutely have to have that sunlight to be able to lay. And these guys are getting close. So as you can see, this is their first time out. The coop is an absolute filthy mess, so I'm not going to take you all the way over there to show you. We're getting ready to clean it out and get all that nastiness out of there. But the ducks have made their way up the hill, and they're finding all kinds of good things, I'm sure, in all of that. We used to, when I lived here 10 years ago, we actually used to have a garden here. So we had cucumbers, and we had, I grew all kinds of stuff. I grew broccoli, we grew tomatoes. I mean, that was before all of these trees grew up and got huge and shaded out this entire area. So not a lot grows right now, except for that hydrangea there, which is a nice, pretty purple. It's got some blue blooms, but it's more purple than the other ones. He's got hydrangeas all over the place because he had a client that ripped out most of his hydrangeas, and so he brought them home and just threw them around the yard and let them grow wherever they wanted to. But so anyway, the ducks are up there living their best life. I will say one of the funny things is there's a rain barrel just outside my little area that I'm in, and the frogs really for some reason like to do their little mating dance in that rain barrel. And over the last week I have seen dozens upon dozens of baby frogs, like teeny tiny little bitty itty bitty teeny tiny, like the size, smaller than the size of my thumb, teeny tiny little frogs. So and I know that ducks and chickens will eat those. I don't know what they think they're finding up there. They're talking about it though. They're quick quacking about it. Whatever it is that they're finding, they're eating some of the greens, which is good. They can eat the greens. That's perfectly fine. They need to swim. They are filthy, dirty, nasty because I haven't been able to swim. And I need to probably, soon, I need to get them in a pool and get them swimming and get them cleaned up because they're just nasty. And I'm worried they're going to get sick because they're so dirty. But yeah, it's just been, like I said, a crazy couple of weeks. So the chickens are out and finding their way around. Some of the chickens are still a little bit scared of coming out. But I've got the fence up, so they're not challenging the fence, thank goodness. I've got them out. It's currently 6:54 Eastern time, so sunset's in another hour and a half or so. The good thing about that is that just before sunset, they usually will go ahead and put themselves up. So I'm not worried about them wandering off. I'm going to stay out here with them. This is their first time out. So I'm going to stay out here with them. I'm going to hang out here with them for a while. And then I'm just going to make sure. Ducks tend to not put themselves up. So I have to watch out for that. And I'll have to put them up. I'll have to shoo them in. But yeah, so we'll work on that, and the chickens should hopefully put themselves up. It has been in the 90s here, 90 degree Fahrenheit. Do not know what that is in Celsius for anybody who lives in Canada or over in Europe, but it's darn hot. It's darn hot. And the humidity has been in the 80% for the last, probably 2 weeks. Oh, that duck decided that he wanted to learn how to fly. And I think that's the duck that almost broke his foot. So he's doing pretty good. Yeah, he's hopping around, flying around, and finding his way. So yeah, so it's been super duper hot. But they've only been going through the water about once a day. I've been filling it up once a day. That is a 5-gallon vacuum water, 5-gallon vacuum water, which basically means that when the top is off, the water flows freely through it, and it will empty itself out in just seconds. So when the top is on it, when that black lid is on it, it creates a bit of a vacuum. And there's a little knob down there at the bottom where the water comes out. And it's a continuous flow as they drink it, but it's not something that is going to, be emptied in a couple of seconds just because it just doesn't work that way. So that's nice. Even with all the chickens and the ducks, they're not going through that much. The good thing is that some of these chickens are going away fairly soon. My friend Krista is taking half of them, and as soon as she gets approval for her coop that she and her daughter and her husband built, they will be getting these guys. So, or half of them, and then so it'll just be 9 chickens and 6 ducks, and I may wind up reducing the number of ducks that we have. I may try to find homes for 3 of them. I haven't decided yet. It's going to depend on, once we get that cleaned out, how big of a mess they're continuing to make, how big of a hassle it is for me to actually get them to swim a couple of times a week or every day or whatever. Right now it's a little bit of a hassle. It's just, we just put the fence up Tuesday night. Yeah, it came in Tuesday, so we just put it up Tuesday night. I will say one thing for Premier One, they are fantastic. I ordered it last Thursday or Friday. No, actually I ordered it on Friday. Monday was the holiday, and I had the fence on Tuesday. And every time I've called, their customer service has been great. Every time I've talked to anybody, and their product is great. I mean, it was super easy. I've been watching people on YouTube who use Premier One fencing, and they've all raved about it. That's why I bought it, is because of all the people that I admire, that I follow, that I watch, that have said nothing but great things about Premier One. You'll hear bad things about anything, no matter where you go, no matter who you talk to. You're going to hear bad things about certain companies for whatever reason. But I hear more consistently good reviews of the Premier One fencing. So I decided to go with that, and I, right now, so far, couldn't be happier. If you don't know a whole lot about electrifying fences, though, you need to make sure that you know someone. so that you can know what to buy if you don't get the complete kit. I elected not to go with the complete kit because most of their kits come with the Energizer and a solar recharger, which obviously we don't have enough sun back here for the solar recharger. And so I didn't want to pay for a solar charger if we weren't going to be able to use it. But you can just plug it into just a regular electric fence battery, which they sell. They're very easy to get and very inexpensive from Tractor Supply. So, but if you don't know anything about any of that, then it's good to, get the advice. If you're a member of Abundance Plus, I'm sure you can reach out to Justin and say, hey, Uncle Justin, what do I do? Luckily, I had somebody that knows a little bit about chargers and batteries and things like that. And then we asked the guy at Tractor Supply what he thought. He knew quite a bit about electric fence. He didn't know anything about the Polynet, but he knew about electric fence and what charger we needed to get. So that was good that we had that resource to be able to talk to. So I'm going to let them just kind of hang out and, like I said, just kind of live their best lives. I've got some that are venturing up this far up. I'm going to hang out. I'm going to keep an eye on them. And I am going to just let them hang out and let them enjoy and let them kind of eat some of the weeds that are just down there. And so I'll let them have a good evening, and I'll probably put them up here shortly. Encourage the ducks to go where they need to go and get them all put to bed. And this will help reduce the amount of waste that's inside the coop as well, which is really going to be nice. I am planning, at least until we get it electrified, I am never going to leave them out unattended. I may go in the house for a few minutes, but I'm not planning on leaving them unattended at all. I'm getting eaten up by mosquitoes right now, but I am not planning on leaving them out unattended because I don't want to lose any of them. Just because the fence is not electrified, I don't want anything coming over. We do have coyotes in the area. We have fox in the area. We have bears in the area. And leaving a coop open for any period of time without somebody outside, even me being out here, it's discouraging for animals like coyotes and fox, but it's not necessarily discouraging for like bears. It's discouraging for raccoons and possums. They don't want to come around while there are people, especially if there's somebody out here talking into their phone like I am. But bears have not as much fear of being around humans and coming in and trying to do whatever they can to, I'm going to flip you back around, to get a free meal. So this one is, I call her Red Riding Hood. As you know, my flock is mostly named after Disney characters and Disney princesses. So this is Red Riding Hood. She actually is the friendliest of all of them. She has been very, very sweet. I have a feeling she's going to wind up laying first. And then there's another Rhode Island Red. I believe those two that right there are both Rhode Island Reds. And then, of course, there's black Australorps. There's 4 or 5 of those in there. There's a couple of barred rocks. So if you can see if I can zoom in a little bit. Those black and white ones right there. Right there, the 2 black and white ones. Those are black Australorps. That's a buff Orpington right there in the front. The one up that's just coming down off the step, that is an Americana. And there's a couple other, I think those are Copper Morans that are standing right up there. So eclectic mix. Should have a nice pretty egg basket when they do start laying. Like I said, they should start laying in about another 5-6 weeks, the older ones, and then another probably 7 to 10 weeks for the younger ones. And then the ducks, I think, start laying between 6 and 9 months from what I read. I believe that all of the ducks are female. The larger one may be a male. Doesn't really matter that much, but I just love duck eggs. So I'm hoping that the majority of them are female so that we'll get a lot of duck eggs because duck eggs are really yummy. and they go for, you know, a like $5 for a half dozen. So at some points here soon, I will probably be applying for a candling license so that I can legally sell the eggs. We'll see how many we get on a daily and weekly basis, and if I can sell duck and chicken eggs both, just make a little bit of money. I won't even make enough to pay for my feed at this point because feed costs are so high right now. I think I'm paying $18 for a 50-pound bag of organic chick feed, which is absolutely ridiculous. 2 or 3 years ago, it was, well, I wasn't buying organic, but 2 or 3 years ago, I was paying between $12 and $14 for a 15-pound bag. So it's, and I'm happy to pay a little extra for certified organic. I use Tucker Milling feed. They're out of Alabama. I'm happy to pay a little bit more for certified organic feed, and they're doing obviously very, very well on it. I'll turn you back around so you can watch them a little bit. So they're doing really, really well on it. The ducks and the chicks both eat the same food. And now if we can get them supplemented with the greens and the bugs and all of that, they'll be even healthier. Their poops will be healthier. They'll be healthier overall. And they'll be happier because they'll get a little bit of room to spread their wings and flap around. The new coop will be enclosed. Like I said, it's going to be right down there. Come off that scaffolding. We'll probably use that bottom part of that scaffolding as part of the coop, and then, or actually, I think he's planning on using that as part of the run, and then the coop will be a little bit further back. So let's see, right where that mound is probably about the area where the coop is going to be. So it'll actually be fairly large area, but yeah. So that project won't happen probably until the winter. More likely because he's so busy during the summer months and he still has to finish out the basement. So the next video I plan to have a basement update so that you guys can kind of see. I'm still unpacking boxes. It'll be 3 weeks on Monday. So I think it's 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks. Moved out on the 20th. So it'll be, just a quick short little update video on the basement, but we still have to finish. The drywall hasn't been taped and painted. The bathroom isn't finished yet. There's a toilet and that's it. And I still haven't finished unpacking all my boxes, but that will be my next update video sometime within the next couple of days. I hope to be able to start posting twice a week again. I know I didn't for a while, and then I did for a while, and then I didn't for a while again. It's been kind of sporadic, and I apologize for that, but I just figured I would give you guys a quick look at the girls' first day out. They're really trying to figure out what all this is all about and living their best life. So I will talk to you guys soon. Y'all have a great one. Love ya. Bye.